That's not how humans say hi. Surprising drunk driving suspect. Thief gets a raise. Bangor, Maine, not just for Stephen King anymore. A PowerWheels Jeep is still a vehicle. Woman makes up baby and it's murder. He did what? With what? Drug-induced delusions? Just stay home. Telling cops you will run isn't smart. Driving drunk? Maybe don't speed too. So, grab a coffee or whatever beverage you enjoy YouTube with, sit back, relax, and let's learn about some dumb criminals. That's not how humans say hi. Police thought something didn't smell right when they responded to an assault call in Pinellas Point. A 76-year-old man had called saying that his neighbor attacked him. On the scene, he informed police that his neighbor, Kaylee Robertson, was walking her dog when he tried to start up a neighborly conversation. At which point, Robertson took the bag of dog poo in her hand and smeared it on his face, dropped the bag on the ground, and continued to her home. Robertson claimed she did it because he would always speak with her while she walked her dog. Apparently, she was confused about appropriate human and dog greetings. Surprising drunk driving suspect. On Saturday, September 30th, 2023, a California Highway Patrol officer noticed a car driving erratically. The officer lit the vehicle up and performed a traffic stop on suspicion of DUI. When the car pulled over, the officer was surprised to see Raymond Barantes behind the wheel. Barantes was a fellow patrol officer, and he had won the MAD Award in 2015 for having the most DUI arrests in 2014. MAD law enforcement liaison Lori Bergenstock commented, "I'm surprised constantly by who gets drunk driving arrests. One of the things we know is drunk driving is an across-the-board issue. Unfortunately, it hits every work situation." I just have to ask, did he try to get off by claiming he was on an undercover operation? Thief gets a raise. An auto salvage yard in Akron, Ohio had been experiencing a rash of break-ins and thefts. People were vandalizing cars and stealing catalytic converters, which are high-value parts as they are full of platinum. One morning, employees reported to work to find a man sleeping in the back of one of their cars. Here, let me play excerpts of the 911 call made available by Channel 13 Action News WTVG.
We're having a lot of trouble here with people stealing stuff and everything. Okay. And we got a guy that's passed out or crashed in one of our vehicles in our yard. And I got the vehicle picked up with the loader, and he's probably 20 feet in the air now. And I refuse to drop this thing to let him out and run. Okay. I mean, we just had so much problem here with theft and catalytic converters and just fires and everything.
Do you know what he looked like before you raised him up higher?
No, we opened the door and he had a mask over his face, and we just raised him back up with the loader.
All right.
So he's still in the car about 20 feet in the air in the loader.
Wonderful. That was the greatest thing I've ever heard. We will get somebody out.
When police arrived, workers lowered the vehicle and police took Alexander Funk into custody. Which makes me wonder exactly how inebriated you have to be to take a nap in the middle of a burglary. For this next case, we're going to Bangor, Maine, and it's not even a Stephen King story. Bangor police received a call from a rideshare driver summoning them to the TJ Maxx. The driver reported that his passenger had told him he had warrants, showed him some drugs, and told him he was going to the store to steal stuff. Police quickly identified the culprit as 41-year-old Kevin Gray. Gray was arrested on outstanding warrants, drug possession, and violation of bail conditions which prevent him from entering several area stores. Gray was also suspected in an incident from a couple days earlier. Gray was released on bond again, which makes me wonder what someone has to do to be kept in jail in Bangor, Maine. A PowerWheels Jeep is still a vehicle. A state trooper was patrolling Vincennes, Indiana around 9 o'clock at night when he noticed something odd. There was a PowerWheels Jeep coming down the street with a grown-ass man driving it. As the Jeep did not have any lights or reflectors on it, the officer pulled the Jeep over for safety concerns. The officer noticed that 51-year-old John McKee seemed intoxicated and administered a field sobriety test, which McKee failed. So police took him to the hospital and determined he'd smoked weed and crystal. They didn't tell us if he was actually singing the Power Wheels song while driving it.
Power Wheels, Power Wheels, Power Wheels, Power makes it go.
Woman makes a baby, and it's murder. You know the Pinkertons, all right? Famous detective agency responsible for helping to tame the Wild West. Some of their means were questionable, at best. Well, this story isn't about them. It's about 30-year-old Glenna Pinkerton. Police received a very disturbing call from Pinkerton's brother informing them she has been talking about burying her 1-year-old daughter in a park after she was shot to death. Her brother also stated that he was not aware of Glenna ever being pregnant or giving birth to a child. If police did a quick records check on Pinkerton before they went to talk to her, they would have found 16 previous arrests dating back to 2011, including aggravated burglary, DUI, unlicensed use of doctor paraphernalia, and possession of drugs, among other things. I do not know if police actually did that check before speaking with her. I do know that the police headed out to speak with Pinkerton. When police arrived, Pinkerton confirmed that her at-the-time boyfriend had indeed shot her daughter to death. Details have not been provided on if this was an intentional or accidental shooting. Pinkerton characterized the incident as him gunning down the baby. You can draw your own conclusions about intent from that. Furthermore, Pinkerton told the police the baby was buried in a shallow grave in Two Rivers Park. Pinkerton went so far as identifying a specific area of the park where the child was buried. Police took a medical examiner and a cadaver dog to that area and searched for the grave. They did not find one, so police returned and spoke with Pinkerton again. Under questioning, Pinkerton stated that her daughter was not buried in the park, had not been shot, and in fact had never been born, as Pinkerton had never been pregnant. When police asked her why she made this story up, Pinkerton stated, "Attention, I guess." Hey, maybe if you're making up a crime to accuse someone of, don't tell police you know where the evidence is. He did what with what? A deputy was patrolling when he noticed a car parked in a commercial storage facility. As the deputy approached the vehicle, he noticed it was rocking suspiciously. Inside the car, he found 55-year-old Theodore Morgaven III and a stuffed animal doing their best impersonation of two teenagers in heat. The deputy took Morgaven into custody and found a purse containing drugs and paraphernalia in the car. Morgaven was taken to county lockup and booked on several charges. Which makes me wonder, what kind of animal was it? We need details, coppers. Drug-induced delusions? Just stay home. On August 12, 2023, police responded to a call about a burglary. Police arrived at the scene to find a naked 68-year-old Eugene Shelton lying in the driveway at the feet of the homeowner. The owner's children, who ranged in age from 9 to 17 years old, were still inside the home. Shelton informed police that alligators were after him and resisted arrest. The children had called their father and said an intruder forced his way into the home. Their father called police and then went home to find Shelton sitting on his sofa wearing only Crocs. During police interviews, Shelton admitted to smoking crystal before thinking that alligators were chasing him. He also repeatedly asked if dogs were after him and told police he disrobed because he kept getting bit. In case you're curious, there's no wild alligators in Phoenix. Telling cops you will run is not smart. In Santa Rosa, California, highway patrol officers noticed a Mustang with a sign over its license plate that read, "Will Run." As the vehicle had been involved in other incidents previously, the officer lit him up, at which point the Mustang made good on the sign's threat. During the ensuing chase, the vehicle exceeded 100 miles per hour. The chase came to an abrupt end when the Mustang crashed into an SUV occupied by 2 adults and a child, all of whom were treated and released at the hospital. Police took driver Marcus Burton and his passenger into custody. The passenger was a minor and was released to his parents' custody. Marcus, on the other hand, was slapped with 3 felony charges, all related to running from the police. Hey, Slappy, warning the cops that you will run and covering your license plate is not a good way to avoid capture. Driving drunk? Maybe don't speed too. A cop in Ocala, Florida was prepared for a boring night of speed trapping when he clocked James Ricks Jr. going 89 in a 45. The officer immediately lit Ricks up and turned his siren on. Ricks did the opposite of pulling over. At one point during the chase, Ricks turned his lights off and then turned onto another street in an attempt to evade police. But in Florida, almost every intersection has streetlights, so the cops saw him make the turn and followed him. When police eventually stopped Ricks, they noticed that he reeked of alcohol and was unsteady on his feet. They administered a field sobriety test, which Ricks failed. He was also wearing a t-shirt that read, "I'm the reason the beer's always gone." Final thoughts. To recap today's stories quickly. Apparently, she was confused about appropriate human and dog greetings. I just have to ask, did he try to get off by claiming to be undercover? Which makes me wonder exactly how inebriated a person has to be to take a nap in the middle of a robbery. What does someone have to do to be kept in jail in Bangor, Maine? Hey, Pinellas Point Police. Take a note here. These guys told us it was a PowerWheels Jeep. But they didn't tell us if he was actually singing the PowerWheels song. Hey, maybe if you're making up a crime to accuse someone of, don't say you know where the evidence is. Which makes me wonder what kind of stuffed animal it was. We need details, coppers. In case you're curious, there are no wild alligators in Phoenix. Hey, Slappy, warning the police that you will run and covering your license plate is not a good way to avoid capture. He was also wearing a t-shirt that reads, "I'm the reason the beer's always gone." There it is, another episode of Dumb Criminals in the hopper. More good life lessons for aspiring criminals. More laughs for those of us who appreciate the irony of someone simply not being intelligent enough to be a criminal. If you know of any cases you'd like me to cover in this series, leave a comment and tell me about them. Also,
drugs are bad. You shouldn't do drugs. If you do them, you're bad. Because drugs are bad, okay? It's a bad thing to do drugs, so don't be bad by doing drugs, okay? That'd be bad. Drugs are bad, okay?
remember, don't break the law. But if you do, be smarter than these dudes and dudettes. That way you'll get your own Monday video instead of just being a small part in a Wednesday video. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. As always, remember that Super Thanks channel memberships are super cool. And now, I got a jam, so tag. You're it.